again, warmly welcome to the first session on NGO experimentations. So this is the third peer learning session, and just a bit of the background. So Fingo Powerbank has outsourced different kind of experimentations jointly with several organizations, altogether 7 organizations. And this is the first time when 3 of those organizations will be presenting what they have been experimenting with, what has happened, what have been the successes, the challenges, the lessons learned. And the reason why we have these sessions is, as it says, it is peer learning. So it is not, the experimentation does not only serve the particular organization who has the funding and who is actually conducting them, implementing them. But the idea is that these learnings will be shared more widely among NGOs, and so they will benefit the NGO sector as widely as possible. That's the idea. And obviously, because these are experimentations and all of these are done probably for the first time, so there can be hits and misses, but it's all part of the learning, and that's fully okay. Now, since the person who has been closely coordinating these experimentations and also giving support and actually organizing this event is my good colleague Peter Njuguna. He's on board, so I'll actually switch the floor to Peter, and you can introduce who will be first and how do we go next. So Peter, you just said there's a heavy rain, but hopefully the line is good enough. So go ahead.
Yeah, thank you, Mika. Welcome everybody aboard. I think most of the experimenting organization, we have had contact with them, and Mika has summarized everything, and we can hit the road. And each of the presenting organization have about 15 minutes, at most 20 minutes. We'll take questions, maybe 1 or 2 in between when the presentations, one organization finishes. And then we hope to have time at the end of all the presentations to have more discussion and question and answer. So I think we could start with LiiKe, if you are ready, and have your 15 minutes. Thank you.
So while Ari is setting, do you already have the co-host?
I do, yeah.
Yes, okay, then you're able to share. Excellent. And now, before you start, I'm just saying that on the top right corner of your Zoom window, you have view options. And if you click that one, and then you choose side-by-side speaker, so then you'll only see the one currently Ari who is talking, and then you can, slide between the presentation and the video. But I'll now shut up and hand it over. Go ahead.
Thank you very much. And first of all, thank you very much for Fingo of introducing this power bank for LiiKe, Sports and Development. It's been very rewarding so far. And also, I would like to introduce our counterpart, Sports Development Aid from Tanzania. Can you also open your video and mic, or do you have poor connection? There seems to be Jackie, Thea, and also Ramson Lucas. And
everyone.
Yeah, it's a little bit, this is Thea's voice speaking, so I can see it's a little bit fuzzy connection at the moment, but let's hope that it works well. So we have 15 minutes, so let's go.
Hello, everyone. So we have had experimentation of using Ombea in evaluating our empowered girl speak project.
It seems to be that, Jacqueline, the connection is not good enough for video and audio. So could you switch off the video and let's try with audio only? And then if for some reason that doesn't work, then I think Ari needs to give a backup.
Thea, do you still have the connection there?
Which is a gender empowerment project councils in Mtwara region.
So let's some initial difficulties, but that's okay. Let's try again. So Jacqueline, if you can hear us, can you start from the beginning, since the line was not very good in the beginning?
Yes. Yes, hello. This is Thea speaking from Sports Development TID. So we are bringing in our presentation, which we conducted, which was about the Empowered Girl Speak Out evaluation, which is a gender empowerment project in secondary in Tanzania. And the project is being sports development aid in collaboration with LiiKe Sports and LiiKe Sports and Development in that and other stakeholders. Therefore, Ombea was a great solution to us. The aim of the experimentation was to use Ombea to collect the information through questionnaire and to find out whether SDA and LiiKe have reached the goal of the project, meaning the expected results. SDA planned to interview 157 girls from 6 secondary schools on school attendance, academic performance, and to measure the knowledge on health education, life skills, and sport activities.
Yeah, indeed. In the beginning, when we started this idea, was thanks to Fingo, who was opening this power bank, and we were having negotiations with the SDA, LiiKe and SDA together, in order to find the best solutions of data gathering, because we've been using a lot of paper and a lot of time and a lot of writing in order to find information that how successful have been in the project, and especially the school attendance through sports and health education. What was the aim at? Of course, the Ombea was, as you can see from the photograph, the Ombea is kind of like a set of questions where you answer by using the pad. And there with the girls, you can see the pads in their hands, so they can have 10 different answers. And then you just process the question to the wall, either by using computer and a video projector. And then you teach as well the children how to answer the questions, whether you have one A, B, C, or D, or whether you have several. But it was a very interesting process also to learn how to use it, because LiiKe has not used this before. Even so, we heard about this like 8-9 months ago. This is such a good process of developing the gathering and collection of data. Of course, it is just that you can answer A, B, C, D, or whatsoever. So if you really want to go a bit deeper into the qualitative answers, so then you have to have personal interviews. But in the basic information collection, this is absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, so SDA collaborated with Fingo Powerbank and LiiKe Sports and Development in Finland. SDA is also expecting to extend collaboration with other CSOs, especially those who are receiving development funding from the government of Finland. SDA and LiiKe have a long history of cooperation with the University of Dar es Salaam, Unit of Physical Education and Sports Sciences, PES, and we are planning to train them also to use Ombea. Professor Devota Marwa from PES was already in Mtwara collecting data for the evaluation of the eggs. So as we said before, we have interviewed 100 and we were planning to interview 157 girls. So this was done in collaboration between SDA, LiiKe Sports and Development, and the Professor Devota Marwa from the University of Dar es Salaam in Mtwara. And the local authorities of Mtwara and Lindi region are also interested in Ombea. SDA has 2 kits of Ombea, one for Lindi and one for Mtwara. And from our research, our evaluation, which we were conducting in Mtwara Rural, the DEOs were so much interested to use this Ombea. One of the DEOs in Nanyamba was so eager to have that Ombea in order even the students can utilize it in the schools, because he thought that this technology activates the students and make them active in the class. So he thought that Ombea could be so much useful in the schools. So we are planning to extend the collaboration and partnership with them also through the local government authorities.
Also, if Vikes is hearing this, if Vikes is also here participating, so you have the local radio program also in Mtwara.
Sure.
So we are happy to share also. And LiiKe has been collaborating a lot with the University of Dar es Salaam considering the master's program. They used to only have bachelor's degree program in physical education, and now they have a master's program. So we had a short discussion on how to utilize also Ombea data collection system to be used for the master's degree research as well. So once we made the agreement with Fingo considering of purchasing the systems, there were 30 pads in each system. There were 30 pads, and we considered in the beginning that the price is about 2,500 euros per set. But when we squeezed a little bit the price and negotiated with the Ombea, who is actually a Swedish company, kind of like, we managed to get 2 sets for 3,000, and that was pretty okay for the price. And indeed, for a kind of like a mid-size NGO, we consider to be like a small or mid-size NGO. It's not such a big issue to purchase also one, but basically the cooperation with Fingo was absolutely fantastic over here. And as all the authorities have been also showing their interest in cooperating with SDA, and looks like as well, according to the talks with the Sports Development Aid. So this has also increased the reputation of SDA. And here's a photo of using the Ombea questionnaires now for the evaluation of Empowered Girls Speak Out project.
Yes, there you can see, as you can see, the girls, for example, the girl in the right, she's wondering and staring at the new technology. Thank you, Ari.
No problem, yeah. And while we were training also the SDA, we notified that this is an absolutely efficient time-saving method. So maybe there you can elaborate a little bit more that what's using Ombea saves from SDA.
Yes, for sure. In the beginning, it was time taking. it was more efficient, time-saving method of data gathering and analysis, where we were able to get quality data and analyze it in few days, where normally it took so many days or even months to get the data being analyzed and ready. And it is environmental friendly, that no need to use piles of papers to collect information, so it saves money and time. Also, using the pads was challenging for the students, but they succeeded. Yeah. And we have a small story that on the first days when we started using the Ombia in the office, the Ombia was somehow difficult technology for us to apply, but it became so easy when we introduced it to the schools and officials. All were so eager to use it. The students were so excited and active to use the Ombia during our evaluation process in the schools. You should have seen the girls' faces when they got the pads and notified that their vote was really counting. Yeah, and all this before the national elections.
Yeah, that was great. Tanzania had yesterday the national elections, and it was rather peaceful. So this was a good start. Maybe in one case, there will be a digital voting coming out in Tanzania one day. And I think one of good successes was that we were able to use as well the mobile phone system in order to do the questionnaires in the beginning while we were training each other. So LiiKe and SDA, we shared a mobile phone system so that we didn't need to use the pads themselves, but we were using the mobile phones, and it was easy then to see the questions and see how the answers are put up and what kind of results are coming out, and also how to make the charts and how to create the reports out of that. So that was pretty good. And here is one question of Nanyamba Secondary School. Are you willing to distribute? So you can easily you can change also when you see the charts. Here is now the pile chart, but you can have pie charts or other kind of charts on different manners. And it was pretty easy to operate then and sort it out. And then you use it as for reporting. Challenges came, yeah. There, go ahead.
Thank you, Ari. Yeah, challenges and modifications need compatibility with some computers, as SDA was not having the genuine Microsoft Office. So here we faced some challenges in a way. And it needs electricity for the rural projects. So SDA purchased the generator so that we can be more efficient. We thought that only single group can be recorded and be analyzed. However, we found the way to match the information. Yeah, so in the beginning, we did not know if we could image more than one group, but later on, after reading and practicing, we realized that it was possible. Some pads are sometimes not responding, but mainly, this is the reason of the students not using them correctly and not looking at the lights on the pad. And adjusted computers and rewriting of the questionnaire to the compatible computers. This original Microsoft Office. Yeah, so there were some lessons learned. That whenever the Ombia got stuck, we always needed to change the computer we were using. And training the staff of session, where LiiKe trained SDA trained us in SDA. Fortunately, we managed to get the mobile phone polling system, which was also helpful. It was exciting to use that mobile phone polling. For us, it was very good and interesting.
Yeah,
Ari,
in the original system also, I mean, Ombea is quite a new system, so they had also some software problems, and it was, even from my computer, it was every now and then it was collapsing. Not very often, but it happened. And also the issue was that when you have a question where the next question is related to the first one, for example, are you a boy or are you a girl? And then you have the next question, for example, which sports you like, football, netball, basketball, and so on, which would be then relating to the first one. So in the beginning, the colors also swapped. So in the first question, when the boys were marked like blue and the girls were marked like red, so then after the next question, when you were analyzing that, what did the boys answer, what did the girls answer? So then the colors changed. And I also wrote about that to Ombea, and they said, actually, this is a failure. So good that you notified it. So then basically what we did is that we got a new updated version of software from Ombea, and then it was more helpful in that case. But yeah, the kids were really eager on using that. Here you can see quite well now then the pad, that how you are voting. I'm sure that many of you organizations have already used it, but for us this was the first time, and it was absolutely fantastic. We go probably very quickly through this, and anyway, it's kind of like that. It was easy for us to use the digital development, and for SDA, what we have been discussing. So for them in the beginning, of course, everything is somehow need to be adjusted, but when you get the experience and when you get a lot of confidence, so that's absolutely fantastic. So, and it is useful. It is useful also even in southern rural Tanzania. It's very useful. And it keeps the information private and secure. So we did not mark that who was having on which pad, so that the girls were explained rather well that this is not a test or examinations where they are getting grades, so they can be safe and sound. So easy for them to understand that whatever they are answering, so nobody would really know it, but they have to be truthful in order to find the information what we were looking for. And nice that even from one school you can take it to 50 schools. We now have 2 pieces of that, even though we are going to borrow it out, but it will be very useful. Okay, Thea, go ahead.
Yes, thank you.
We have few minutes left. Thea, we have few minutes left, just a couple of minutes left, so we go pretty quickly, okay?
Yeah. Thank you. So we tested the Ombea in 60 secondary schools. It worked well in 3 schools where we interviewed 157 girls. In November, we will test it in 10 more secondary schools for the Empowered Girls Speak Out Project baseline survey in Mtwara. In January, there will be a prevailing situation testing in 20 to 30 secondary schools in Lindi region. And in 2021, the master's degree students of the University of Dar es Salaam may use Ombea in their field researches. If LiiKe gets funds for the Zimbabwe project, Ombea will be used in 14 teachers' colleges as well for the research of prevailing situation.
Yeah, it's very easy and quick one, and also if it can be used on a high-level examinations, so like at the University of Dar es Salaam, so we would be very happy to help them as well. And sharing the information what we have here is also our top priority. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Peter, would you like to go ahead?
Yeah. Thank you very much, LiiKe. I think for the presentation by ISF, please keep to 15 minutes or so.
We are slightly struggling with the connections, but I hope the audience you are able to follow well. And since there weren't many specific questions, as Peter mentioned, we can now proceed and take the next presentation. And remember, we do have time then in the end also to have a discussion. Thanks for the first presentation. Excellent, Thea and Ari. Now it's time for ISF.
Thank you. And my name is Airika Herra from International Solidarity Foundation. And we are now many from International Solidarity Foundation. We have Elizabeth, and then Mary and Joel, who are also doing their own part of this presentation. Elizabeth will continue after me, and then Mary and Joel are those who will answer the different questions what you are raising. But for the previous presentation, I would like to say that we have also experience about Ombea. We use that, ISF used that in Somaliland beginning of this year, and next Monday we are going to have training on it, and we are going to use that Ombea in Kenya when we are collecting baseline data for our new livelihood project. So, but it was really nice to hear about your experience about Ombea. But for ISF presentation about the Fingo Powerbank funding. Beginning of this year, we were in that situation that Kenya government gave us a different kind. Elizabeth.
Hi, it's Mika.
Yes,
I'm
yes,
just checking whether you are going to share the presentation to
Elizabeth,
everyone.
Please share the presentation.
Okay. I
Sorry.
also happen to have the presentation here, so yeah, Elizabeth has it as well. Okay.
Okay, good.
Excellent.
Thank you, Elizabeth. So in the beginning of the year, we were in that situation that Kenya government gave different kind of restriction that we can't move to our project area and reach our beneficiaries because of the COVID-19, and we had to find out the different way that how we can do our work in the grassroots, and we were really lucky that that time Fingo Powerbank came on board, and also request us that if we can have some kind of cooperation together, and we got also funding from Fingo Powerbank, and the funding what we were using from Fingo, we used that for the different kinds of social media activities, and actually it was really good time for ISF to find the new ways reach the new beneficiaries itself, and also we did quite high digital jump on the way that we were doing our project in Kisi and Nyamira. We have our own project, Munganu Gender Forum in Kisi as well. We have two local partners, Mangahad and Sekome, and together we did different kind SM messages and Facebook live videos and video illustration as well. We were sending different kind of messages to our beneficiaries in the field, And what I can say that during the time from June to September, we reached a huge amount of new beneficiaries through these different kinds of social channels. Maybe Elizabeth, you can take the next slide. Elizabeth. Elizabeth, can you change the next slide, please?
Yes, I'm trying to change just a
So here are some numbers that the beneficiaries what we had before, and then after our activities. So through Facebook, the number of likes grew from about 700 to more than almost 3,000, and post engagement increased to up to 6,000. And the biggest increasement we got from the video engagement, that it was almost 300,000 during the 5 months. Twitter and also with the bulk SMSs, we also got really big increasement. And this same happened also with our partners, Secome and Manga. So Manga, the same increasement with Secome from Facebook and video views, as well bulk SMSs, they were growing quite much. And each month we have different topic of the can you, Elizabeth, also show that the next slide? Different themes of what we were discussing in different social media channels. And now we can show one of the video illustration here, how they look like.
Irene and Elizabeth, I'm just checking whether in the original video there was also sound or...
Yes. That's what I'm trying to figure out. Is everyone hearing it?
No, we don't, but I think we got a glimpse of the video, so that's okay. Maybe you can provide us a link to the videos. I think
okay, we'll share that.
Yeah, no problem. Just go ahead.
So sorry that you couldn't hear that, but there is also voice, but you can listen that after this event when Mika is sharing our presentation with you. But during this month, we were working very closely with Kisi and Nuamira counties gender department, and we can say that the cooperation now was really much improved. Of course, we had the chance to reach the Kisi and Nuamira people through this social media and and of course our local partners did really good job there. When they were really active with these activities. But for the result and successes and so on, Elizabeth, please, if you can continue.
All right, thank you, Airi. For the results that we were able to achieve so far, there was increased collaboration with both Kisi and Nyamira counties, as Airi has alluded to, and also in terms of increased information dissemination and uptake, especially on Facebook, Twitter, and WhatsApp. And also on the SMS platform, we had an increase in number as people kept recommending their friends to be added to the list. And we also took up the responsibility of sharing the COVID preventive messages to the community to ensure, despite the fact that you are not going to meet them in person, we're also letting them know on how they can protect themselves. And in terms of the three options that we're using for information dissemination, that is the SMSs, the Facebook, and the video illustrations, they provided a channel to provide the community with support lines, helplines, especially during these tough times of COVID. Whenever we'll send out a video or do the SMSs, we always share the toll-free numbers that are there for the different issues within the community. And also, it has another great success was in the support to county government, especially the gender departments in identifying the community health needs. In the month of September, when we did during the suicide prevention month, we realized that so many people are suffering in silence, and the county government was able to take up the challenge following our recommendation to be able to provide support to different community at different levels. And what we are hoping to achieve at the end of it during the project implementation is to ensure that the collaboration that we've fostered within the two counties, that is Kisi and Nyamira, will continue, especially with the local authorities. We're looking to bring on board the local governments, that is the chief and the village elders, to ensure that whenever if they need to send out a message to call for a baraza or something of the sort, we are able to support them in that. And then, in terms of challenges and modifications during implementation, the key challenge that we've been able to face has been lack of feedback, especially on the SMS platform. The way that it works, it's a push SMS, so there's no channel that the beneficiary can give feedback if the information is helpful or not. And the second one was on technological challenges for those using smartphones. Sometimes it may be a challenge for them to access data for connection, especially in terms of the Facebook videos, live videos for the Muungano Monthly Forum, as well as the video illustrations. You'll find, especially with the youth, they kept saying it's a bit heavy, takes up a little bit more of my internet than what I have planned to use for that week or that month. And the other challenge was on behavior change. Like any information sharing platform, it's hard to measure the change of behavior of the beneficiary due to lack of feedback channels. And then the fourth one is that there's the fear of spamming the users with SMSs. So when sending out the SMSs, we try to strike a balance of giving out enough information and not spamming people so that they don't end up unsubscribing from the platform. And then some of the modifications that we had to do during the implementation is the SMS registration challenges. For the bulk SMSs, we initially used to send it using the service provider's name, but we realized it was not working well, and we needed to have it customized to every organization that we were working with. So we had our partners register, but on our end, Muungano being a project under ISF, we could not register Muungano as a registration, as the caller ID. So we had to incorporate it, and despite us trying to explain to them it's one and the same thing, it was quite a challenge. So we had to incorporate the name ISF in the ID registration, and that got us moving along. In terms of principles for digital development that we've been able to work with during this period, it's the build for sustainability. We have used and invested in local information technology service providers. That is for the SMSs, and as well for the video illustrations, we use a local artist. For the other one, we plan on engaging local governments and integrating national strategies into the programming, e.g. the community policing duty under local government, that is the chiefs and the village elders. I had pointed out earlier, this is something we are looking to carry on with to make sure they can use the platform, especially for the community policing. If something has been stolen in terms of property, maybe if it's a car, they can be able to share, or if they're calling the community for a meeting, they can be able to use the SMS platform to do the same. And then on the third one is the program outlets chosen can be adopted as user needs and the ecosystem changes. The three platforms that we've been using for this project, they are equally adaptable given the different kind of beneficiaries we deal with, and even that we might get to engage in the next phase of our project implementation. And then the design with the user, we've been able to do the implementation design is sensitive to and considers the needs of the traditionally underserved. The reason as to why we chose the three different avenues was to make sure that we cater for every beneficiary that we have. Not every beneficiary is on Facebook, and not everyone owns a digital phone that can be able to access the video illustrations. So we opted to do the short SMSs, the short messaging service, to ensure that even someone who has a normal small phone that is not digital can be able to receive the information and action on it. And then we have also been able to incorporate multiple type users and stakeholders in each component, especially counties, and we have been able to embrace an interactive process that allows for incorporating feedback, that is for Facebook and the video illustration, as the video illustrations are shared on all our digital platforms, as well as the different partners WhatsApp groups that they have. And fourth one is project outlets let people opt out of participating in the implementation process. Especially like on the SMS platform, the user has an option to opt out. The same applies to the WhatsApp groups and Facebook. Someone can unfollow or leave the group at any given time. Okay, Airi. Okay, I can continue if Airi is not available. In terms of feasibility for scaling, as earlier alluded, we're looking to do that with the local administrators, and especially when they're calling for their meetings or passing any information to the local community. That is who at the end of it are our beneficiaries. And then the SMS platform can be used to boost community policing, as security messages can be sent out on how to go about reporting insecurity. This will also ensure that we create a friendly and a safe environment where we work for the people we work for. And the third one is incorporating other county departments to the SMS platform for them to be able to reach masses. And the fourth one is the video illustrations are being shared to school teachers, and there's an opportunity to reach school-going children and their parents, especially once the schools resume, as the videos are short, the doodling itself is very entertaining for kids, so it captures their attention, and it's an information-packed video that is easy for kids to retain information from. The other one is a collaboration with other actors in the area to encourage information sharing on best practices. We're looking to bring on board other partners that are there that use different kind of technology for the information dissemination of their work, so that we can see how we can be able to collaborate together. The platform is used a great addition in support of the work being done, and they are cost effective. There is potential to increase collaboration with other stakeholders, such as counselors, doctors, nurses, to provide guidance and referral support to the beneficiaries. Especially this one is something key we are looking to go with, especially when, like I said earlier, we've been sharing the support lines, but we are looking also bringing on board an actual person who, if let's say we are talking about medicalization of FGM, we have a doctor, we share doctor's number, which someone can use to reach out to them, or if it's on mental health, we share counselor's number that someone can be able to call and get assistance, and having not to go through the toll-free numbers, which come with a lot of, which are IVR based, so you'll have to be on the wait or press 1. If you want in English, press 2 to avoid all that. And then on the last one, there is scaling potential in creating a feedback mechanism for the SMS platform to ensure that we collect feedback and respond to the needs of the beneficiaries. The current provider that you're using, they told us they've introduced a new way that we can be able to get feedback from the beneficiaries that you send SMSs to. So that is something we're looking to bring on board moving forward. Okay, thank you.
Elizabeth and Ari. Go ahead, Peter.
Presentation and keeping on time. And I think Mika, please go ahead with maybe one question, as we have Mika Niskanen set up the presentation for Fida.
Yeah, I was already jumping ahead, asking one question here, is that was this the first time you were using social media in your project in this way?
Charles, well, are you around? We have been using Facebook in our Mungano gender meetings. We have recorded them, and it has been possible to listen through Facebook our meetings. But how about Sekome and Manga? Maybe Mary, you can give answer for that.
For the partners, that is Sekome and Manga, they have been using, they've had digital accounts, but the fact that when COVID started, they could not go to the field, and they ended up using it for most of their community work by having live videos, by bringing in on board different panelists to discuss different issues surrounding the community. But yes, they have been using them before, but during this COVID period and during the Fingo implementation project we have seen an increased use in the same.
I particularly like that you chose the approach of using multiple channels, and as you explained, some can benefit with the data connection and smartphones, and they can watch the videos, but then you are also giving additional channels like SMS for inclusiveness, and I think this is one of the great learning points to take away among many others. So thanks a lot. I'm sure those who would like to utilize similar kind of approach in their programs now or in the future can then get in contact with you and ask for some more detailed advice as well.
Thank you, and we will respond all the questions, and of course the emails if somebody is interested to know more about the work, how we are doing now and how we did before.
Thank you. ISF has been able to use technology, particularly this time of COVID, to ensure that they are not losing the gains of the work they have been doing and continuity of work. Hope Joseph Karanja and Elisha are there to carry on with their 15 minutes with the presentation. Please call out for Mika Niskanen to move to the next slide when you are done with one slide.
Hello, good afternoon, everybody.
Good afternoon, Elisha. We can hear you. Please carry on.
So it's good that we have this opportunity to be here, and together with Mr. Karanja, we'll present this experiment that we are doing together with Fingo on ICT for education. And first, I will give my colleague, Joseph Karanja, to proceed. Karanja.
Thank you so much, Alicia. Good afternoon, everybody. It is a pleasure for us to have this meeting. And first of all, do a brief introduction on the implementation that you are carrying out. And basically, the reason why we wanted to have the implementation was to ensure that the teachers who were at home with the kids, because the schools in Kenya closed during early March, basically because of COVID issues, that they had something to do. The problem that we were addressing is actually lack of ICT skills for teachers. So in terms of the background, we were working in Magarini sub-county of Kilifi County. And Kilifi County is one of the areas where we have a lot of issues to do with education. The literacy rates in Kilifi County are actually among the lowest in Kenya. And then there are so many other issues like teenage pregnancies, arranged marriages, and other retrogressive cultural practices that keep children out of school. So the purpose of us having the implementation was to increase the capacity of the target teachers in Magarini sub-county and other ministry officials in being competent to implement the competency-based curriculum in Kenya as an aspect of digital literacy. And the experimentation training of trainers are supposed to increase the number of trainers available within the region to support the overall dissemination of competency-based curriculums, digital learning integration. So in terms of the numbers, we decided to pick 12 teachers from 12 community schools because at that time we were unable to work with so many, but the number of lead cases are so many. So we selected 12 teachers from 12 schools, and these teachers are expected to be trained, and actually the training is going on. And once these teachers are trained, they'll be able to reach 150 other teachers within their own schools. Then it is expected that the teachers who are already trained now will be able to reach 2,000 learners during the post-COVID-19 period. Next slide, please. These are some of the photos that are there in the villages. The first photo on the left is a classroom which is taking place outside. And then next photo on the right is actually a number of children. This is Makiu, a school day, and most of the kids are actually not in uniform. So we wanted to have an implementation whereby every child, regardless of where they are coming from, can be able to access education. So those photos are actually showing maybe the challenges which are already there in Magarini. Next slide, please. And in our activities, because we are promoting access to education to children and youth, we are also involved in a number of activities, including children club activities. Next slide, please. And because our implementation was actually supposed to create resilience during the time of COVID-19, we were also preparing the opening of the schools by enhancing sanitation and hygiene. The picture on the left is a tank which has already been donated by Full Gospel Churches of Kenya and Fida International. And the picture on the right is a number of toilets which have been established. In as much as we want to enhance digital literacy for the teachers, we also have to prepare the schools for the time that the children will resume education, so that the environment will be very conducive for them to learn in. Next slide, please. And in line with the implementation, there was another component which is Fida funded. And in this component, we were trying to promote the parental responsibilities on education during COVID. So we were using the medium of radio to be able to actually sensitize the parents on their roles and responsibilities in taking care of their children when they are at home. And basically what is happening in Magarini is that there are so many cases of teenage pregnancies ever since the schools closed abruptly. And we felt that in as much as we were promoting the digital literacy, we also had to keep on telling the different stakeholders, especially the parents, that they were supposed to take care of their children even when they are at home. So the picture which you are seeing there is of a lady called Mary Habona. And Mary Habona comes from one of the most marginalized communities in Kenya, called the Wata community. The Wata community numbers about 20,000 in the whole of Kenya. And in terms of education, they really lag behind. So we were using her to sensitize all the parents within Magarini and other areas to tell the parents about their responsibilities, and also to use her, like a role model who can tell the Watas about the need to take their children to school. Next slide, please. Then in terms of collaborations and the partnerships, we had one partnership with an ICT organization called ICT for Development Kenya. And this partner organization is handling all the technical aspects of the experimentation. And as I am speaking now, we already have a seminar which is going on even at this time. And the organization has been able to conduct a number of online and physical classes for the teachers. Basically, we had a challenge in the beginning because of the COVID regulations, whereby we were unable to bring the teachers in a central place. So we started with online trainings. But now, once the regulations were actually relaxed, we have been able to have a number of physical classes. And basically, the reason why we have them is to iron out issues pertaining to maybe the challenges, because our implementation is actually based on the use of the mobile phones, so that the teachers can be able to access information and also disseminate the same using mobile technology. So in terms of possibility of extending these collaborations and partnerships beyond the experimentation, we see that there is a possibility of extending this. And basically we have three main areas. And number one is that the teachers themselves are requesting for an advanced training on ICT. Basically what we were focusing on are the basics of ICT, Like for example, how can a teacher use a mobile phone to access information from the Kenya Institute of Curriculum Development? How can a teacher be able to get information from Google Classroom? And how can a teacher be able to disseminate the same to the other teachers? And then the teachers will be able to use that information and to use that content in a classroom setting. And then another possibility of extension is in the area of food security. We want to find out whether we could have an experimentation that can help farmers to do collective marketing of their products using ICT. And then the third experimentation which we want to consider is how we can be able to help farmers to learn about weather, like rain patterns and the seasons. Because basically in Magarini, people or farmers rather rely on rain, and they are not even sure when is the right time to do the cultivation, when is the right time to plant. So if we could get an experimentation which would give them some information on the expected time for the rains, patterns, and the seasons, then it can actually help them. So I'll give over to my brother Elisha to continue with the rest. Thank you so much, Elisha.
Okay, thank you, Karanja. So we can move on to the next slide on results and successes. So these are some of the results and successes that we have experienced so far since we started this experimentation. The first one is about the education policy, that through this experimentation, teachers' capacities to understand policies and plans have been increased from the interactions that, that they have so far received through this experimentation, especially in the, one of the key areas is the understanding of how Kenya Institute of Curriculum Development is promoting ICT education. Then the second success has been on the fact that the teachers have acquired the technical skills and capacity to deliver content digitally, which they did not have before. Then the third success that we have seen so far is that the abilities of these teachers to use the digital platform to conduct or to deliver content for their students has been increased through this experimentation, because so far the teachers have gained skills that they are able to use different platforms to access information, and also to use those platforms to deliver the contents that they have. They have also been trained that they can also even develop their own content that is going to increase their ability to teach students. Then the fourth success that we have seen so far is on research and knowledge sharing, whereby these teachers that are being trained have created a platform whereby they're able to share information among themselves. And also they have created platforms like the WhatsApp groups that they are able to reach other teachers from their schools. As Karanja had mentioned, currently this experiment is only targeting 12 teachers, but at the end of it, we expect that over 150 teachers will be reached through these 12 that are currently being trained. So we have seen them creating platforms whereby they've been able to share information among themselves and with other teachers. So the next slide is also, this is a photo of the teachers that are currently being trained. I think we took this photo after they had attended one of the physical trainings that we have been conducting. And next slide. So as we continue with the research and successes, what are we expecting to achieve by the end of this experimentation is that there will be trained teachers who can access, feed data, and deliver digitalized content. And also that we have trained teachers who can be able to share the training and skills that they have received with other teachers. So far, some of the success stories that maybe we can be able to highlight is that through this experimentation, we have been able to receive quite good support from different stakeholders, especially the Ministry of Education in Magarini. They have been very supportive. And through this experimentation, we have been able to strengthen our collaborative networks. Then the other thing is that we have seen that these teachers who are participating in this experiment are quite motivated. They are quite motivated through the skills that they have been able to learn, because they are now seeing their competencies being increased and being developed. Then we can also say that through this experimentation, teachers have been able to acquire the skills that they will be able to use to deliver digitalized content deliveries with their students when when the normal learning resumes. Next. So in terms of the challenges and modifications that might be there, I will ask my brother Karanja to continue with that.
Okay, thank you so much, Alicia. In terms of the challenges that we have faced during the implementation, number one was that there was an assumption that all the teachers were at par with technology. But once the lesson started, we realized that the teachers were at different levels. So there were those who actually needed the facilitators to visit them on site to guide them on how to use the mobile phones. Then another challenge is on connectivity. Mainly the areas in Magarini are very remote, and internet connection is very poor. There is no stable internet connectivity. Then number three is inadequate equipment. We have been using smartphones technology, as we have said, as opposed to the use of computers. And basically, the teachers would like complain because of the small screen sizes of the smartphones, especially like when they were dealing with the big documents like PDF documents and others. And then number three were power shortages. Most of the areas in Magarini have no reliable electricity. So during times that the classes were to be held, the teachers had to organize to have their phones charged. And actually this has also affected most of the ICT projects in Magarini because of the power shortages. However, we were able to do a number of modifications to address the above challenges. And modification number one was creating a face-to-face class session to develop a common knowledge platform. And this would help in terms of people talking about the challenges that they have been going on. And then as a group, they would be able to discuss how they can be able to overcome the challenges. Then there was the use of the web applications more than the mobile applications. And the issue was the documents were to be offline, so that even when there is no internet connectivity, the documents can still be available. In terms of power shortages, as I have mentioned, the teachers were to ensure that their phone batteries were full before the classes started. Next slide, please. Then the recommendations which we have had is that in as much as online meetings are good, they are also cost effective and they can be able to be organized quickly. The challenges are that in terms of technical issues, like for example, if a teacher does not know how to operate a video using the maybe like the Google Meet or any other platform, then we need more hands-on training sessions so that they can be guided on that. And then the other recommendation is having dedicated computers for intensive content development for teachers. And then number 3 is having school administrators or heads being a part of the training, because basically when we started, we looked for the ICT champions who already had some skills on how to operate the digital devices. So the head teachers were not part of the training. But going forward, we want to have the trainings with the administrators so that we can make this project more successful. Next slide, please. Okay, then the lessons learned. Implementation of ICT's project is still a challenge since the learners do not have gadgets, and we have to plan to use different means to disseminate the content. And basically, the learners were going through platforms like Google Meet, and then they were using WhatsApp, but we need to modify and have multiple platforms for dissemination of information. Then another lesson that we learned was the importance of having networks and collaborations. And then another lesson was the importance of using volunteer teachers and sustainability. Next slide, please. In terms of principles for digital development, we included the following principles. Number 1 was developing context-appropriate solution informed by users' priorities and needs. As we realized in Magarini, we thought that maybe the most appropriate technology that we were to use was a mobile phone, because as I stated above, there were so many challenges due to lack of power, very low internet connectivity, and other challenges. Then another principle was identifying partners early who can help to scale our solution. And in this, we were able to engage a partner who is well versed in issues of ICT. And when it comes to the issues of helping the teachers to handle the gadgets, and also to access the different media platforms, that organization has been able to help us in doing that. And then when we started, we were planning for sustainability from the start. And one of the ways where we were planning for sustainability was to engage the government offices, like the Director of Education in Magarini, then the Teacher Service Commission Director in Magarini, for him to allow us to work with the teachers. And then the other aspect is using the volunteer teachers, and then working with the school management boards to ensure that they were able to actually own the project, and the project would even continue even if the funding is able to stop. Next slide, please. Then in terms of feasibility for scaling, I think we mentioned this area and we said we need to give an advanced training to build on what is already there. And some of the platforms that we are planning to use is Zoom. We are not using Zoom now because we realized that the teachers were not capable to use it during this implementation. So we'll be advancing to other media platforms like Zoom. And also the teachers have also requested maybe to use TikTok, especially in classroom settings, like maybe training the children through video. And then another feasibility is in terms of promoting food security through collective marketing. And then another one is a solution which would enhance sexual, reproductive, and health rights to address the very high incidences of teen pregnancies. And we have already talked with our implementing partner, and the partner is saying that maybe there is a solution which we can actually be able to use to address those other two components. So thank you so much. I think that's what we had.
Thank you, Alicia and Karanja, for that presentation. I think we have only like 10 minutes remaining. And just to add on what Karanja and Alicia has presented, I think the whole idea of this experimentation was the question of whether teachers' capacity can be built digitally or virtually, because the teachers and students in Kenya, when schools closed down, they found themselves with a lot of time. And then looking back, the government before COVID hit, the government has really tried to equip schools with infrastructure, but then the capacity of teachers has always been left out. So I think Fida looked at the opportunity of building the capacity of teachers virtually during the lockdown, so that post-COVID, these teachers can be able to deliver digital curriculum to students as part of supplementary teaching. I think there was a question from Marlena about the collaboration and about the partner who Fida have used in this training, who has handled most of the technical aspects of the training. And this is actually, like Karanja has mentioned, is one of the using the principles of collaboration in when infusing technology in implementation of programs or interventions. So they identified this particular partner because of the shortcoming that they would have and the gap. And this partner actually understands the ecosystem where this experimentation was being done. So, and that has helped a lot to bridge the gap between the implementing organization and the teachers. Then I think Mika had asked a question on in the chat about, and I posed that to Fida, to Elisha and Karanja. What was new in this experimentation? What did you do that you had not done before in your interventions in this particular location in Kilifi?
Okay, thank you so much, Peter. Maybe I can speak something, and Elisha maybe can add, and also Peter, if you feel free, you can also add. What was new for us is the use of digital technology. Initially, we have been doing physical teacher trainings, and we have also been doing a number of things like sensitizing parents on their roles and responsibilities. But the issue of use of technology to promote ICT skills is new to us. And the reason why we decided to use the phones was that, first of all, the phones are cheap, they are available, and they can actually come in very handy, especially if we have a situation like what we had, where the schools in Magarini are in very remote places. a mobile phone can easily be accessible. And we thought maybe that would be the best technology to use. Maybe Alicia, Peter.
I think you have said it, unless
Yes.
Alicia has something else to add.
Karanja said it all. Thank you.
I'll put it back to Mika and my colleagues if there are other questions that had been posed.
And unless there are other questions, then I'm just maybe saying a comment that now out of those 7 experimentations, we have seen 3. So one of them was focusing on the use of Ombea, like a digital data gathering in surveys. One was use of social media and multiple channels, all ranging from SMS all the way to Facebook and WhatsApp and others. And then the third one was capacity building and use of digital means in teachers, teacher training and quality of education in overall. And I think this was a good range of different kind of examples how in practice, integrated in the development projects that NGOs are running, different kind of digital tools and channels and means can be utilized to enhance the outcomes of those projects. Even when they are not, don't necessarily have the main role, they are kind of aiding and supportive components in those programs. It was interesting to hear these views, kind of lessons learned, and also the challenges what each of you had faced and what kind of changes you needed to do during the experimentation. And so by sharing these with the network of NGOs now, hopefully those were helpful, and other NGOs can learn and get in contact later on and maybe try out something similar as well. The last point I'd like to add that if you got interested in experimenting as well, then Fingo Powerbank is always here. We have a technology solutions portfolio, and we are also going to launch the next round of experimentations in the beginning of next year, when we are going to open a new round of concepts to NGOs. So then just be ready then if you'd like to try out as well. But more details on that coming later on. Peter, you have been following and supporting the process very closely. So do you have some remarks as well?
Thank you, Mika. And I think just to mention one of the things that have really come out strongly within the 3 experimentation, I think it's a lesson for everyone, is actually being very clear and understanding the ecosystem, because the 3 organizations, first of all, understood the ecosystem where they're working, and then they were very clear on the problem and the need. So starting from the problem and the need, other than starting with the technology, I think has contributed to the successes they have been able to see. For example, picking on ISF, they defined what problems they have, what shortcomings they have within the COVID lockdown, and what they want to still continue working on. Fida realizing on the time that the teachers have and the shortcoming they have in terms of the capacity, and then defining what solution is there and whether technology has any space to solve some of those problems. So it's about understanding the ecosystem and working the other way around, starting with the problem and then looking whether technology has any, can offer any solution to the problems that are existing. And then the other thing is about collaboration. We can see the collaborations within the 3 organizations. And one of them, for example, picking on Fida, is identifying a partner who is on the ground, not hiring a solution provider who is away from where the implementation will be done. Someone who understands the ecosystem and then ensuring that you don't struggle with the technology, but bring on collaboration with a partner who is not just providing solution, but a partner who understands what the problem is and understands the community well where that is being implemented. So I don't know whether we have colleagues. I think we didn't do introduction at the beginning. We have Mika and Mika Naskanen, who has been supporting a lot. And then we have Emma. Probably Emma, if you have something to add on, and just say hi.
Hello. Nothing really to add. Thank you very much for the nice event. And thank you everyone for coming.
And then there will be the second round of this session. And as Mika said, please just give spend your last minute here. Click the link you can see on the chat and give feedback to us and how to improve, what went well, what could we improve for the next round, where new organizations will be presenting the lessons learned and the experiences.
So thank you, Mika. I think we are coming to the end of this. We have 3 more organizations who will be sharing their experiences, and that will be communicated date next month. So we have African Care in Somaliland, and we have FELM in Tanzania, and we have VKs also in Tanzania. So that will be communicated. Please feel welcome to learn more from those remaining organizations. And with that, we come to the end of this sharing. And thank you very much for coming in. And that's all for now, unless Mika, you have anything else to add.
No, I'm just waving my hand to everybody on behalf of all the presenters. Thanks for those who presented, and thanks, Peter, and everyone joining.
Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Finished on time, on top of the hour. Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot. And I also shared my email and the phone number over there if you need to know something more about Ombea and how we are proceeding, because we are doing the research also this autumn more, and also in January. So there will be more of it if you want to know more. So do not hesitate to communicate.